Well, two of Marvel Studios' most well-developed, great, and well-received characters in all of the MCU have to be Rocket and Groot. And now James Gunn has given us a bit of a peek into their history and a project that almost happened, but we never got to see. As a matter of fact, they shot some test footage. Let's talk a little bit about their origin of Rocket and Groot. Well, way back when Marvel Studios first announced Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of people were pretty convinced this was going to be the MCU's very first flop. But then we got that first trailer, and honestly, the franchise has not slowed down since. The series has spawned a full-on trilogy and a special presentation, and the heroes were a huge part of 2 Avengers movies, so for me, it is absolutely one of the most successful franchises for Marvel Studios. Now, way back when the movie was first coming out and Marvel was a little worried about how this was going to go, they were hoping to familiarize fans with the team before Guardians was released in 2014. And Marvel Studios looked into doing a one-shot for Rocket and Groot. This Rocket and Groot origin short came really close to happening, with James Gunn actually working on it before the plans changed and even breaking down a whole story. Now, recently, he took the threads and gave fans quite a clue into the story, what happened, and how Rocket and Groot got together, so I thought we could talk about it. Now, if you remember correctly, back when Rocket and Groot and the rest of the Guardians were arrested by the Nova Corps in the first movie, one of the affiliations for Groot was a character known as Tibius Lark. That character is directly tied to the origin story. Now, in James Gunn's post, he broke down this whole story and gave us some pretty interesting details. He said, Tibius Lark, Groot, and Rocket were all imprisoned in a deep well in the ground. Tibius was on the verge of dying, and he explained to Rocket he had been caring for Groot for years. He was a former zookeeper in a shitty galactic-side zoo. He explained that he had saved Groot, who was on exhibit there, and that Groot was a loyal friend. He asked Rocket to please take care of him, and then he died. And when he died, Rocket looked down in the dark cell and noticed that he was a robot. The lower body of his body smashed open and was mechanical. The guards above the ground heard something rumble and they turned and they saw Rocket and Groot bursting up out of the ground, Rocket on Groot's shoulder, and in Rocket's hand was a machine gun he made from Lark's body. He shot all the guards and they escaped together and remained friends until they met the Guardians. Now, honestly, this little story sounds fantastic and I absolutely wish it had been made. Gunn's post made it pretty clear they had shot some test footage for it, so this nearly happened as one of Marvel's one-shots that were really popular with those early DVD releases. I actually suspect the reception for that first trailer was so positive, because if you remember, everybody was talking Ooga Shaka when that trailer dropped, that Marvel basically decided not to pursue this and focus on the main film. I also seem to vividly remember that first little bit of footage we got was only after 12 days of shooting at SDCC. So this project was moving forward at a blistering pace, and I kind of do understand why it got put to the side, but given how successful it was, and hindsight being 2020, I'm sure Marvel, James Gunn, and well, me included, all wish this had happened. Now, I seriously doubt we'll ever get to see any of this. I think the main question ultimately is if Bradley Cooper recorded any lines for it. I'm sure if his lines were recorded, Marvel could probably make this happen, but whether they want to add any more to the Guardians franchise, it's sort of unclear. We're supposed to get another season of I Am Groot, so maybe it could be integrated into that. That's an animated project, so they could find ways to work that in and give fans this lost origin tale of Rocket and Groot. Let's keep our fingers crossed.